Hello, pre-calculus class. Today we're going to try to do vectors addition virtually with this program that I'm using and with this protractor right here. There it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have two vectors here, and they are vector R, which is 2.6 centimeters at this angle, and then vector S, which is 1.4 centimeters at a 45-degree angle. And we're going to eventually do R plus S, and this is number 18 in the book, R plus S. We're going to add these two vectors together to scale, and you're going to do it with me on your paper to scale as we do it together. So here we go. If I need to pause the video at some point, I will. But the first thing I'm going to do is sketch vector R. So I'm going to be going pretty quickly here, so stay with me. If we're going to do a vector that's 2.6 centimeters, then what I am going to do is start right here, and I'm going to find a 128-degree angle, which is going to be about right there. Okay. Now for me, I'm going to overdraw this. Now you should always be using a pencil on this, but that right there is about 128 degrees. But what I'm going to do is shorten this thing to 2.6 centimeters because I want it to be the same size as yours. So what I can do, check this out, is rotate this to actually show you how to measure 2.6 degrees or 2.6 centimeters. So if we look very closely, if you just squeeze your eyes on there, you can see that that right there is about 2.6 centimeters long on that thing. And then I'm going to go up here, take my eraser tool, and erase this thing back off down to a 2.6 centimeter degree vector. So I'll just go down to about right there and stop. So for you, you will just have your protractor there and measure it that long once you get your angle. Okay, so let me put the arrowhead on that, and then I'll flip this protractor back to the way it was and put it off to the side here. So that is going to be vector R. Okay, so I'm going to select that and drag that over to the side. So there's my vector R, and I'll come back to that in a minute. Vector S is 1.4 centimeters long at a 45-degree angle. So again, back to the protractor, drag it back down here, and I'll come in and make a 45-degree angle from the crosshairs, 45 degrees. Again, I'm going to oversize it so I can get my angle right, and then I'm going to erase it back down to 1.4 centimeters. So I'll move this, rotate it to how I want it. Let me do that again. I had that on the wrong layer. That's my bad. So I'll do 45 degrees. Boom. There we go. And then I'll rotate this to where I need it. Move it up there so I can measure it, and I want it to be 1.4 centimeters. So I'll just erase this down to about right here. 1.4, like right in there somewhere. So it's very, very short. Take the protractor and move it off here for a second and draw this arrowhead on there. So that's going to be my S. Select it, and once I have these things drawn, I would have pre-drawn this for us all, but because I wanted to show you that to scale, it kind of makes it easier to work at it with me here in case you're absent. So now what I'm going to do is R plus S. So I take my R and I'm going to draw it out. And if you have lined paper, like since I'm going to erase this, if you have, lined paper on yours, like notebook paper, you want to make sure you start your beginning of your arrow on a line. That's just smart. So I'll show you why when we're done here. But you're going to take vector R, put it like that on your paper. Now you want, like I said, you want a beginning point here like that. Let me make that a different color, like purple. There we go. So make that on a line of your paper so we can eventually figure out what the resultant vector is and get the angle on that. Then you're going to do S, and when you make your S, guys, you want to start the arrow at the end of the other arrowhead like that. So what you're going to do is take your protractor and if you can see this, you're going to put your protractor when you make the S, if you guys would look here, right at the end of that arrowhead. See that? And you're going to have to kind of, since it's so small and it's almost annoyingly small, you're going to have to kind of get a pencil in there and kind of fudge that a little bit to get that angle just right. Okay, protractor out. And then what I'm going to do, last thing I can do is connect the end of this, or the beginning, to the end of this. So, and I'm going to make an arrow out of that called the resultant vector. So, bam, right there. And if I get it on the right thing, and bam, there. And I need to now take my protractor, measure this, and since everything is to scale, I should be able to do this with you here. So first thing is I'm going to measure this. And what did you guys get when you did this? It's supposed to be right about 3 or 3.2. And you can see that mine's a little bit less than 3.5, but I am using giant ink and I'm trying to do this to scale. So it's somewhere around 3.2 centimeters. And now to get the angle, what you would do, wow, that's bad, sorry about that. To get the angle is you would put it back here at the tip of this pink dot, and because you lined it up with your notebook paper, you can figure out how big this angle is. If you can see this purple line here, you need to figure out what that angle is. And when you do that, you should get around 101 degrees. And you can see if you just kind of extend that purple line up there, you're going to get somewhere right in this neighborhood of about 101 degrees. And this is taking vector R plus vector S. You can do anything you want now. I mean, you can do 2R plus 3S or R minus S. If you have to subtract vectors, you just switch the direction 180 degrees. All right. Hope that made sense. I will see you tomorrow.